We are doing Navadvip Parikrama under the guidance of Nityananda Prabhu. Yesterday we heard how Ramanuja Acharya also came to Navadvip and got the blessing of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and later he also took birth as Ananta Prabhu in Navadvip. That was Vaikuntapur. As they heard and spoke these ancient narrations, they arrived near Mahatpur. Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, "This place is Kamyavan of Braja. All of you behold this abode with great devotion. In ancient times, there were 5 banyan trees. By the will of Shriman Mahaprabhu, these trees have now disappeared. Although today everyone calls this place Matapur, its old name, as mentioned in the scriptures, is Mahatpur. When, during their exile, the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi lived incognito, they came to Gauradesh, means Bengal. When they were residing in the village of Ekachakra, Yudhishthir Maharaj became overwhelmed upon having a dream by which he understood the glories of Nadia. The next day, they all came to this place, which is situated within the area of Sri Navadvip. Simply by desiring darshan of Sri Navadvip Dham, they felt elated. Seeing the beauty of Sri Navadvip, the sons of Pandu began to glorify the fortune of the residents of Gauradesh. The Pandavas resided at this place for some time and killed many demons. Behold this place, known by the name Yudhishthir Tila, and also Draupadi Kunda, which is situated nearby. Maharaj Yudhishthir understood the glories of this place and therefore stayed here for a long time. One day in a dream, Maharaj Yudhishthir received darshan of the astonishing form of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. The luster of Mahaprabhu's divine limbs illuminated all directions. Smiling, Sri Gaura Hari spoke to Yudhishthir Maharaj. Just behold my form, which is rarely seen. I, Nandanandan Shri Krishna, always reside in your home as your friend and just like a member of your family. This Sri Navadvip Dham is the essence of all other holy places. This Dham manifests in Kali Yuga and destroys the darkness of ignorance of all living entities. All of you are eternally my servants. At the time of my appearance in the form of Gaurahari, you will also take birth again. I will always stay with you and spend my time on the shore of the ocean in Sri Purushottam Kshetra in the land of Utkal, Orissa. Now you should go to Orha Desh, means Orissa. Purify that place and remove the sufferings of the living entities there. When he awoke from his dream, Maharaj Yudhishthir told his brothers about it. They discussed the matter and then, together with Draupadi, began their journey towards the land of Orissa. Although they felt great sorrow to leave Sri Navadvip Dham, they followed the instruction of Sriman Mahaprabhu. Then in Puri, Bhavananda Rai is Pandu and his 5 sons, Rai Ramananda, Baninath, Gopinath Patanayak, and to others they are 5 Pandavas. Sri Madhva Muni, means Srila Madhva Acharya, resided in this place for a long time with his disciples. Sri Gauranga Sundar was very merciful to Sriman Madhva Acharya, and in a dream he bestowed upon him darshan of his supremely enchanting form. Smiling, Sri Gaura Chandra said to Sri Madhva Acharya, "Everyone knows that you are my eternal servant. When I appear in Sri Navadvip, I will accept your sampradaya. Now, with great effort, you should carefully uproot the false scriptures of Mayavad everywhere. You should reveal the glories of the deity. I will further develop your pure doctrine. Having spoken thus, Sri Gaura Chandra disappeared. When Sri Madhva Muni woke up, he remembered his dream and fell unconscious. When he came back to his senses, Sri Madhva Muni said, "Will I again be able to see that beautiful golden complexioned form?" and began to weep. Just then he heard a divine voice from the clear sky. "You should worship me secretly. As a result of your worship, you will surely come to me." When he heard the divine voice speak, Srila Madhvacharya regained his composure, and then he set out to defeat the Mayavadis. As they recounted and heard these old narrations, they all arrived in Rudradvip. Upon reaching there, Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, "This Rudradvip has been divided into two parts by the power of the river Bhagirathi. By the will of Sriman Mahaprabhu, no people reside here now. Just see, because of the flow of Sri Ganga, the western island is moving toward the eastern bank. Now see Sri Shankarpur from here. Look how the entire Shankarpur, which is situated on the bank of the Ganga, is beautified." Once Sri Shankaracharya, during his scholarly conquests, arrived here for the purpose of defeating the scholars of Sri Navadvip. Although Acharya Shankar in his heart was the best of all Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu, externally he wore the dress of a servant of Maya, a Mayavadi, as an Advaitavadi sannyasi. So he wore the dress of a servant of Maya, means Mayavadi. Although he was partial avatar, Angsha of Rudra himself, and was greatly talented, still Shankaracharya skillfully preached a hidden form of Buddhism. Sri Shankaracharya was preaching Mayavad only to follow the order of the Supreme Lord. When he came to the city of Nadia, Sri Gaura Chandra appeared to him in a dream and mercifully spoke to him with sweet words. "You are my servant. You are diligently preaching Mayavad to fulfill my order. However, Sri Navadvip Dham is most dear to me, and therefore Mayavad cannot be preached here. Here, Briddha Shiva, together with Prodamaya, spreads a false explanation of the Agama scriptures. They only preach to those who have enmity towards my devotees, because their sole purpose is to deceive these people. Since this place is generally for my devotees, it is not proper to spread Mayavad and other such corrupt philosophies here. Therefore, you should go somewhere else. Do not cause any pain to the residents of Navadvip." From this dream, Sri Shankaracharya understood the truth about Sri Navadvip, and full of bhakti, he went elsewhere. At heart, he went elsewhere. Gurudev told in Harikatha that if we want to be rescued from Mayavad, then we have to go to Navadvip Dham, because Mahaprabhu already prohibited there. And I saw in 2011, I was in Navadvip. Gurudev went to Assam. I was in Navadvip in like February, and there was one famous Mayavadi. He rented our mat to have his own followers and also programs and everything, because elsewhere no one, they could not get. So many people also were speaking against our Gurudev. How he allowed this? Why he allowed Mayavadi to come there and also have programs and like this? So they rented like maybe 3/4 of our mat, all the rooms and everything. That Sadhunivas was there, and behind the Samadhi of Parangurudev in that field, they had a big pandal that like tent, big tent, and they had program. He was presenting himself as being Gauranga or Krishna, like this, God, and they all called him Gaurahari, and they worshipped him, Arati, as God on the bank of Radhakunda there, behind our mat there. So I heard some devotees from other places, they were speaking, why your Gurudev allowed this? Why he gave this? And that Mayavadi was so rich, he came to Navadvip by helicopter from I don't know where, and in ISKCON he landed. They have big land there. So then they came. I saw him when they took him from our Radhakund, that guest house behind. From there they took him with car to that pandal. It is very near, but they took him with car. So, but later I understood, and they had their own cooking and their own programs. And later I understood why Gurudev allowed this. Because of this reason. Gurudev knew that Mahaprabhu's Dham is very merciful. And he does not allow, he will purify. So soon after that Mayavadi had this program, he left his body. After they had a program, he went some other place and he left his body. So I saw it as a grace on him, given by Gurudev, that he could, and his followers, they could get the grace of Navadvip Dham. I think you know him, Kripalu Maharaj. There were also two his disciples here from Slovenia, that Cynthia, those. So I saw him. They worshipped him like God. This was in 2011 in February. Gurudev went to Assam, but he said I should not go. So I went to Navadvip at that time for like 14 days. So, and also it was our Padmanabh Maharaj was giving Harikatha. So many of the followers of that Mayavadi, they also came to hear our Harikatha there. They came to sit. They were attracted. And Padmanabh Maharaj used to speak strongly. So somehow they got grace of Navadvip Dham, and soon after that he left body. Although he was not so old but not so old. So I think he got the grace of Navadvip. That is my understanding. And also that money which they gave was used for the service of Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna. So Gurudev made arrangement for them to get this proper Sukriti, and then gradually they can advance. So they came to further. This Rudradvip is the place of the Rudras. Together here they glorify Sri Gaurahari. But it happened, it happened when I heard the kirtan of those two disciples of him in Slovenia many years before. I don't know which year, but many years before, I could not hear that kirtan, what they were singing. Although Radhe Govinda they were singing, but I could not hear, because I felt there that is not real kirtan of Radha Govinda. It is with the wrong conceptions. So I could not. So also here, I was a bit disturbed hearing their kirtan there, because that is not proper. So, but hopefully, I think Gurudev made that arrangement out of mercy, that they got the grace of Navadvip Dham. Otherwise, they would not get any place. No one would accept. The Gurudev gave chance to get the grace of Navadvip. The Rudra, whose complexion is Nila Lohit, he whose neck is bluish, Nila, and head reddish, Lohit, is the Lord of all the Rudras. He, Nila Lohit Rudra, continuously dances here full of joy. Seeing his dance, the demigods in heaven also became happy and shower flowers. Also, that Mayavadi, you could see, they made a lot of like makeup, that powder and all this to look like that he's more young than actually he is, and like golden color. I saw. And his followers, they were chanting, Jai Gaur Hari, Jai Gaur Hari. And our brahmacharis, they were somewhere also little, you heard them, what they are saying, like this. So I saw him. So that is Mayavad, wrong. But Mayavadis, by the grace of Mahaprabhu, they can also be rescued. And by the grace of Navadvip Dham. So some considered him Krishna, some Gaurahari, and he had his own gopis also there. I saw some his prominent gopis. Also not young, they're old Matajis, but they're gopis, Radharani, and they're there. So what to do? So seeing his dance of Nila Lohit Shiva, the demigods in heaven also become happy and shower flowers. Gurudev told, our Parang Gurudev in Vrindavan, our mat is very near to Ram Krishna mission. There also Mayavad is pure. So sometimes they came to our mat to visit, and Gurudev told us, our Parang Gurudev gave them hospitality. He gave them prasad and due respect and everything, not behaving harshly with anyone, because he knows all belong to Krishna, all jivas. Yes, they are in ignorance, they are doing wrong, but they belong to our Supreme Lord, so Amani Namana Dena, and he gave prasad and not harsh behavior. If anyone wanted to know about proper Siddhanta, then Parang Gurudev would speak in mild tone to explain to them what is according to scripture, what is not, what is truth, all this he would explain. So, but he did not like behave harshly. So I think our Gurudev also followed this principle which he saw in Parang Gurudev in Vrindavan. So he also made this arrangement here. He received, yes, okay, and that they can get grace. And really I saw some of those followers, they were hearing Padmanabha Maharaj, and he was speaking against Mayavad, not mentioning name, But Siddhanta, he was saying, and I saw some of those who were hearing, they were like admitting, yes, they were approving that. So at least some, they immediately got the grace. I saw in their faces, they understood what is going on. Once Sri Vishnu Swami also came here with his disciples while he was on tour defeating opposing philosophies. He spent the night here in Rudradvip. While here, all of his disciples began to dance and chant Hari Hari, and Sri Vishnu Swami himself began to recite prayers from the Shrutis. Extremely pleased by their deliberation on bhakti, Sri Nilalohita mercifully appeared there. Sri Nilalohita appeared in that assembly of Vaishnavas. Upon seeing his form, Sri Vishnu Swami became greatly astonished and with folded hands began to praise him. Rudra, being most merciful to Vishnu Swami, said, "You Vaishnavas are extremely dear to me. My heart is very satisfied by your discussion on bhakti. Ask any boon you like from me and I will mercifully grant it, because there is nothing that I do not give to the Vaishnavas." After offering his prostrated obeisances, Sri Vishnu Swami, feeling supreme joy, folded his hands and prayed for a boon. "O Lord, please give us such a boon by which we may attain perfection within any sampradaya that preaches bhakti." In great happiness, Sri Rudra bestowed upon them a benediction and accepted them within his own sampradaya. Sri Vishnu Swami thus established his own sampradaya, named Sri Rudra Sampradaya, and began to dance and sing. By the mercy of Rudra, Sri Vishnu Swami stayed at this very place and began to worship Sri Gaurachandra with the purpose of attaining divine love. In Sri Vishnu Swami's dream, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu told him, "You have received the mercy of my devotee Rudra. You are blessed because in Sri Navadvip you have received the wealth of bhakti. Now you should spread the philosophy of Shuddha Advaita, purified non-dualism. After some time, when I will appear as Sri Gaurahari, you will take birth as Sri Ballabhata. After meeting me in Sri Kshetra, you will go to Mahavan and promote your sampradaya." Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, "O Jiva, now Sri Vallabha Acharya is in Gokul. When you go to Braja, you will get his darshan." We heard some time ago in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ballabhata came to Puri and was being proud of scholarship and everything, and Mahaprabhu graced him. He removed his false pride by speaking the glories of his devotees and presenting himself, "I am nothing." And then by the grace of all those devotees, Ballabhata and Mahaprabhu, he understood. And he also proudly said, "I don't accept the commentary of Sridhar Swami on Bhagavatam. I made my own." Then Mahaprabhu said, "Those who don't accept Swami," means husband, they're like prostitute. So he graced him. Ultimately, Ballabhata understood, of course, that is the pastime to teach us. Is Vishnu Swami appearing in Gaur Lila, Acharya. Having spoken thus, and also I saw those followers of that Mayavadi, many of them, they attended Arati also. Our Guru Gauranga, Radha, Madan Mohan, Panchatattva, they attended that Arati also. So they got some Sukriti, Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. So definitely they were benefited by the grace of Gurudev. Having spoken thus, Sri Nityananda Prabhu turned his face toward the south and happily began to walk towards the beautiful bank of the Ganga named Paradanga. When they came to the bank of Sri Bhagirathi, Sri Nityananda Prabhu showed Sri Jiva, Sri Rasa Mandal and Sri Dhira Samira. Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, O Jiva, just behold this eternal Vrindavan. Here one can see the pastimes of Vrindavan. Hearing the name of Vrindavan, Jiva became overwhelmed with prema and streams of tears began to flow from his eyes. Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, here, together with his devotees, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu performed kirtan of the verses describing Rasa Lila. O Jiva, the pastime place in Vrindavan called Maharasa Stali, Pangshivat, is the bank of the Jannabi in Navadvip. Here, Sri Krishna eternally performs Rasa Lila with the gopis. Sometimes a fortunate Jiva beholds that pastime. Behold, Sri Dhira Samira to the west of the Rasa Stali. Listen, O supremely intelligent and grave Jiva. This is a place of bhajan. In Braja, Dhira Samira is splendidly situated on the bank of the Jamuna, and here it is situated on the bank of the Ganga. It appears to be the bank of the Ganga, but actually it is not so, because Sri Jamuna flows along Ganga's western bank. This is why Sri Sachinandan called this beautiful place on the bank of the Jamuna Vrindavan. O Jiva, all the pastime places of Vrindavan are splendidly situated here. There is no difference between Sri Dham Vrindavan and Sri Navadvip Dham. O Jiva, you should never see any difference between Sri Gaurahari and Sri Krishna. After showing Vrindavan to Sri Jiva, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who was immersed in powerful transcendental emotions, continued onward. They proceeded further toward the north and spent the night in Rudradvip. This Bhakti Vinod, whose only wealth is the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Jannavi, is singing the glories of Sri Nadia. So Vrindavan is also in Navadvip. All glories to Nadia Bihari, Sri Gaurachandra. All glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the master of the village named Eka Chakra. All glories to the Lord of Shantipur, Sri Advaita Prabhu. All glories to Sri Gadadhar Pandit, a resident of Ramachandrapur. All glories to the essence of a wish-fulfilling gem, Sri Gauramandal, where in Kali Yuga, Bhagavan Sri Krishna performs his pastimes. Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the son of Padmavati, crossed Sri Jannavi and proceeded on a little further. See this supremely enchanting place named Bilva Paksha, because at that time Rudradvip was on that side of Ganga, where Koladvip, that side. Now it is on this side, but Bilva Paksha is here. So they had to cross the Ganga. You know, Bilva Paksha we go during the time of Simantadvip. Go further on second day. But here they came now. Bilva Paksha. He said to the devotees, nowadays everyone calls it Belpukuria. Now they say Belpukur. The scriptures declare this place to be Bilvavan or Belvan of Sri Brajadham, Behold this same place in Navadvip. Panchamukha Bilvakesh, means Shiva, used to reside here. For 15 days, many Brahmanas worshipped him by offering him leaves of the bel tree. Pleased with them, Lord Shiva blessed them with the boon of Sri Krishna Bhakti. This Bel Pukur, you remember, there is one Madan Gopal deity there. That is the village of Nilambar Chakravarti. He was worshipping that deity, and there they are selling these bel fruits. You can offer there to temple. And in Rudradip there is also one Gauriya Mat now. Rudradip Gauriya Mat. Today devotees, they went there. That was established by Prabhupada, but it had to move many times because of Ganga flooding. There is one nice Maharaj there, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Sagar Maharaj. He's now senior. I saw him in now when Parang Gurudev's disappearance day. He was the president of Sabha. I saw him. He was sitting in that platform. Now he's senior. He can speak Bengali, Hindi and English nicely. Sri Nimbaditya was one of those Brahmanas. They were worshipping in Bilvapaksha, Belpukur. Full of devotion, he worshipped Panchamukha Shankarji, 5-mouthed Shankar. Being pleased with his worship, Panchamukha Shankar said to Sri Nimbaditya, a divine forest of bel trees, or Belvan, is situated on the border of this village. There are many bel trees in our mat, in Mayapur, but during Kartik, when I was there, at that time they are not ripe. So what to do? You can only see them on the tree. Later, during this time, they are ripe. You can take prasad. They will offer and you take prasad. In that forest, Chatushsan are immersed in deep meditation for Kumaras. By their mercy, you will achieve transcendental knowledge. Chatushsan are your gurus. All of your heart's desires will be fulfilled by serving them. Having spoken thus, Maheshwar disappeared. Sri Nimbaditya searched for the place that Maheshwar had told him about, and in doing so, he arrived here at Bilvavan. In Bilvavan, he saw the 4 sages, Sri Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan and Sanat Kumar, sitting on a beautiful raised platform. No ordinary person was able to see those 4 naked youths, whose character was supremely illustrious and who were sitting close to Brigdakesh Shiva. When Sri Nimbaditya Acharya saw them, he began to eagerly call out, Hare Krishna, feeling excessive joy. When you saw Uttamadhikari devotees, then automatically Harinam will come on your tongue. So just seeing them with joy, he was chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Upon hearing the name Hari, their meditation broke and they saw a Vaishnava standing in front of them. One by one, those 4 youths happily embraced Sri Nimbaditya. Gurudev said they look like as if they are very young, but they are very old. From beginning of creation, they come out from Brahma. But appearance is like as small boys. Who are you? They asked Sri Nimbaditya. Why have you come here? Please introduce yourself. We will certainly fulfill your desire. When he heard their words, Sri Nimbaditya first offered them his obeisances. Thereafter, with great humility he told them about himself. After learning about Sri Nimbarka's identity, Sri Sanat Kumar smiled and said, "The terrible Kali Yuga is coming." Knowing this, the God of all gods, Sarveshwareshwar Shri Krishna, made a firm resolution to spread bhakti for the supreme benefit of the living beings. The Supreme Lord transmitted his power into 4 devotees and sent them to spread bhakti throughout the world. Sri Ramanuja, Sri Madhva and Sri Vishnu Swami are 3 of those great personalities who are endowed with the power of Bhagavan. You, O best of the devotees, you are 4th. Sri Ramanuja Acharya, Sri Madhva Acharya and Sri Vishnu Swami were accepted in the Bhakti Sampradayas of Sri Lakshmi Devi, Sri Brahma and Sri Rudra respectively. From today, we accept you into our Bhakti Sampradaya. Our purpose is to become blessed by accepting you as our disciple. Guru is also blessed by getting bona fide disciple, because by that he is doing service to Krishna. Guru's business is to engage the jivas in the service of Krishna to satisfy Krishna. So if Guru gets some proper aspirant for devotion to Krishna and he accepts him and teaches him, then that is also, he is blessed because he is doing service to Krishna. We used to be immersed in impersonal knowledge for Kumaras, but by Bhagavan's special mercy, this sin of ours was abolished. From the standpoint of bhakti, to meditate on impersonal Brahman is sinful, because we belong to Krishna, we should serve him. But otherwise, that impersonal Gyan, to meditate is more pure than exploitation in this world. But that is also one kind of sin for Jiva, because Jiva should serve Krishna. So they told, we did that meditation, but by the grace of Bhagavan, we gave up that sinful act. Now we understand that Shuddha Bhakti is the most excellent object. We have also composed a Samhita based on Bhakti. The name of this Samhita is Sanat Kumar Samhita. Your Diksha will be in accordance with the teachings in this Samhita. You will find in Jaiva Dharma Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur quoted from Sanat Kumar Samhita. About Ashtakalya Lila of Radha Krishna, it is described there. And also about how to meditate on yourself, your Swarup, it is also from this book. I think in Bhajan Rahasya also he quoted. Seeing the kindness of his Gurudev, the intelligent Shri Nimbarka took bath in the river Bhagirathi without any delay and then returned, because he heard you will get Diksha. So immediately Nimbarka understood, okay, I will take bath, and then he came back. He offered his prostrated obeisances and humbly said, O Master, O Savior of the fallen, please deliver this lowly person. Sri Chatukh's son gave him the Jugala mantra of Sri Radha Krishna and instructed him in worshipping Sri Radha Krishna while filled with spiritual sentiments. Bhava Marg or Raga Marg. This mantra, our Gurudev sometimes he also sang Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Sham, Sham Sham, Radhe Radhe. In Nimbarka Sampradaya, they are chanting this mantra in Kirtan, and also when they are doing Japamala, they are chanting this mantra. So that is coming from Chatursan. And they are also in Raga Mark, they are worshipping, but they are more in Sakhi mood, not in Manjari mood to Radharani, but in Sakhi that they are following. You heard in Kartik handbook that Nimbarka Sampradaya also they think Radha Krishna is topmost, but they think Ras Leela at night is topmost Leela. But the Gauriyas, they think in Radha Kunda midday is topmost, because they are only those who are in Anugatya of Radharani, they are there. Those who are devoted to the service of Radharani, they want to unite Radharani with Krishna, knowing that Krishna will be more happy. Chandravali and others, they are not coming to Radha Kunda Lila at midday. Only those who are devoted to Radharani. That is why that is highest pastime. It's highest ecstatical symptoms, everything is manifested there. But in Ras Lila, all different gopis are there. So this mantra they are chanting, and Gurudev used to chant also. And then after that, Mahamantra. Did not finish with this mantra, but with Mahamantra. That is our mantra. It is superior. Mahamantra is superior, according to Rasa, explained by Raghunath Das Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Bhajan Rahasya. Because Radharani is in this, to steal the mind, or to steal the heart of Krishna. It's Hare. And Rama is Radhika Ramanaram, one who wants to please Radharani. So here for Gauriyas, this mantra is superior, Mahamantra. So Gurudev was chanting like in this in stages. After receiving the mantra, Sri Nimbaditya Acharya sat in this sacred place and worshipped Jugala Kishore according to the injunctions of Sanat Kumar Samhita. Shri Radha Krishna mercifully bestowed their darshan upon him. The splendor of their form spread effulgence in all directions. You see, he was chanting Radha Krishna Nam and got darshan of Radha Krishna. Gently smiling, they said, O Nimbaditya, you are blessed. You have worshipped us here in Navadvip, which is dear to both of us. In this very place, we combine in one form as Shri Sachinandan and always reside here. While saying this, they manifested their form as Shri Gaura. Shri Nimbaditya became overwhelmed upon seeing this form. I have never seen such an unparalleled form, Shri Nimbaditya said, nor have my ears ever heard of such a form. Where can I find this incomparable form? Sriman Mahaprabhu mercifully said, O Nimbaditya, you are a great personality. Do not tell anyone about this form. For now, keep it secret. Preach Krishna Bhakti, full of the pastimes of the divine couple. O Nimbarka, I receive great pleasure from these pastimes. When the time comes to manifest my form as Sri Gaura, I will perform many scholastic pastimes. At that time, you will take birth in the state of Kashmir and wander throughout Bharatavarsha, means India, as a champion of learning. Your name will be Keshava Kashmiri, and everyone will acknowledge you as a great scholar. In your wandering, you will come to this Sri Navadvip Dham and reside in the village of Sri Mayapur. Merely upon hearing your name, the eminent teachers of Sri Navadvip will flee. At that time, I will be intoxicated in relishing the mellows of erudition and scholarship. And therefore, I will take great pleasure with all the boys in defeating you. By the mercy of Goddess Saraswati, you will understand the truth about me. You will give up your false pride and accept shelter of me. After bestowing upon you the gift of bhakti, I will again send you to spread bhakti. Therefore, now keep my identity a secret and satisfy me by preaching the philosophy of Dvaita Advaita, the principle of dualism and non-dualism as propagated by Nimbarka. When I appear, I will inaugurate the congregational chanting of the holy name, and at that time, I myself will preach the essence of your philosophy of Dvaita Advaita. O great personality, from the Madhva Sampradaya, I will accept two essential principles. The refutation of exclusive monism, Mayavad, and service to Sri Krishna's deity form, having accepted this form as eternal. Mayavadis, they think that is illusory, temporary. It is only good for meditation, but later you have to discard. But Madhvacharya said no, deity of Krishna is eternal and his worship is also eternal. From Sri Ramanuja, I will accept exclusive devotion. Ananya Bhakti means all Ekalaishwar Krishna are Sabritya. Only one is Supreme Lord, all are his servants, all demigods, everyone. So one-pointed devotion to Supreme Lord, Ananya Bhakti, and service to the devotees from Ramanuja. From Sri Vishnu Swami, I will accept the sentiment that Bhagavan Sri Krishna alone is my everything. Tadya Sarvasva Bhav, and the path of spontaneous devotion, Raga Marg. From your Sampradaya, the line of Sri Nimbaditya, I will accept two supremely essential principles to exclusively take shelter of the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika, Ekanta Radhika Ashroy, and the sentiments of the gopis, Gopi Bhav. Speaking thus, Sri Gaura Chandra disappeared. Sri Nimbaditya began to weep, intoxicated by prema. Sri Nimbaditya first offered his obeisances to his guru's lotus feet. He then left for another place to disseminate Krishna Bhakti. That is why our Prabhupada, he installed them, all four acharyas, in original Chaitanya Math. Guru Gaurango Gandharvika Giridhari deities are on altar, and around them, when you do parikrama of the temple, there you will see all four acharyas, because they all came to Navadvip, all were blessed by Mahaprabhu, and all are devotees of Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu gave them this duty at that time, but internally they are all devotees of Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu also accepted these points from their Sampradaya and further developed it to Achintya Bheda Abhed and made this shape, how everything should be. So that is why all are worshipped there, and they are offering bhog and everything to them. Means prasad. To them they are offering prasad. From afar, Sri Nityananda Prabhu showed the place called Rama Tirtha to Sri Jiva. In that place, Sri Baladev Prabhu killed the demon called Kola and thereafter bathed together with all the Yadavas in the Ganga. Today this place is famous by the name Rukmapur. This place is situated on the border or perimeter of Sri Navadvip Parikrama. It is especially glorious to stay at this place during the month of Kartik. After leaving Bilva Paksha, Sri Nityananda Prabhu and all the devotees arrived at the village called Bharadwaja Tila. Sri Nityananda Prabhu said, once Sri Bharadwaja Muni came to this place after visiting the holy place named Sri Ganga Sagar. Sri Bharadwaja Muni resided here for a long time, worshipping Sri Gaura Chandra. Being pleased by his worship, Sri Vishwambar mercifully gave his darshan to Bharadwaja Muni and said, your desire will certainly be fulfilled. At the time of my manifest pastimes, you will attain darshan of me. Saying this, Sriman Mahaprabhu disappeared and Bharadwaja Muni fell unconscious, overwhelmed by great prema. After residing on this hillock for a long time, Sri Bharadwaja Muni left to visit other holy places. Today people call this place Bharui Danga. According to the scriptures, it is an eminent holy place. While speaking and hearing of these topics, they all followed Ishan Thakur and arrived in Mayapur. Sri Nityananda Prabhu was dancing, overwhelmed with prema, and all the Vaishnavas were performing kirtan together. Sri Jagannath Mishra's house is the essence of all other holy abodes, because Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu appeared here along with the holy name, that is Jogapit. That day, in the house of Sriman Mahaprabhu, Sri Sachi Mata served all the Vaishnavas prasad with her own hands. It is not possible to describe the joy that was experienced at that place. Everyone was chanting the holy names of the Lord in that grand festival. Bhakti Vinod is singing the pastimes of Nadia in the hope of attaining the cooling shade of Sri Nityananda Prabhu's and Sri Jannava Devi's lotus feet. All glories to Sri Gaura Chandra. All glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. All glories to Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu. All glories to Sri Gadadhar Pandit. All glories to the bliss of Prema Rasa. All glories to Srivas and the other devotees. All glories to Sri Navadvip Dham. All glories to Sri Nama Sankirtan, the storehouse of Prema. Early the next morning, Sri Nityananda Prabhu was gracefully present in Srivasangan. Streams of tears flowed from his eyes as he was carried away by Gaura Prema. Countless Vaishnavas and virtuous persons surrounded Sri Nityananda Prabhu on all sides, and they also were deeply immersed in the ocean of Sri Gaura Prema. At that moment, Sri Jiva Goswami, who was intoxicated by prema for the divine couple, arrived there. After offering his prostrated obeisances at Sri Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet, Sri Jiva began to roll in the dust of Srivasangan. Sri Nityananda Prabhu tried his utmost to check his emotions and asked Sri Jiva, in how many days from now will you go to Sri Vrindavan? Sri Jiva said, the Lord's order is paramount. I will depart for Vrindavan whenever you order me to go. O Lord, before I go, I want to ask you some questions. Please give answers to these inquiries for the welfare of your servant. This Sri Navadvip Dham is identical to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Why then make the effort to go to Vrindavan? After hearing Sri Jiva's question, Sri Nityananda Prabhu replied as follows. This is a most abstruse matter, so listen attentively. Please remember that as long as Sriman Mahaprabhu's pastimes remain manifest, no one who is averse to the Lord should come to know of this topic. Sri Navadvip and Sri Vrindavan are one identical truth. There is no question of either of them being superior or inferior to each other. Although Shri Vrindavan Dham is the storehouse of rasa, it is impossible for someone who is unqualified to attain it. Therefore, that very Shri Vrindavan Dham bestows qualification to taste rasa upon the living entities by manifesting as Navadvip. Shri Radha Krishna's pastimes are the essence of all rasas, and therefore no one can quickly attain qualification to enter them. By performing austerities for many lifetimes, one will obtain knowledge of philosophical truths. Then this knowledge ripens. When this knowledge ripens, a desire manifests to know about rasa. Even though this is the case, there are many kinds of obstacles at every moment in obtaining it. Therefore, it is difficult to obtain the great wealth of rasa. No one will obtain that rasa just by going to Braja. Because of one's offenses, rasa becomes tasteless. In this terrible Kali Yuga, the living entities are always engulfed by offenses. Furthermore, their life lasts for a few days only and is filled with many kinds of troubles. It is impossible to obtain Brajaras even if one wants it. Therefore, Krishna's mercy is the sole cause of obtaining it. Therefore, in order to bestow mercy upon the living entities, Shri Radha Krishna have appeared in their combined form of Shri Gaurahari from Mother Sachi's womb. They, along with Shri Vrindavan Dham, have appeared in this very Navadvip. In order to give qualification to the jivas to taste rasa, Shri Gaurahari provides such a path where offenses cannot create any kind of obstacle. By taking shelter of the holy name and by residing in Shri Navadvip Dham, qualification for rasa appears and all kinds of offenses are removed. Within a short time, Shri Krishna Prema will manifest within the sadhaka's heart, and a strong longing to understand the loving mellows of Shri Radha Krishna will awaken there. In this way, by obtaining the mercy of Shri Gaurahari, the living entity attains Shri Vrindavan, the abode of Jugala Kishor's pastimes. This is a most confidential truth. Therefore, do not instruct anyone on this matter. There cannot be any difference whatsoever between Shri Navadvip and Shri Vrindavan. Although Vrindavan is present in this Navadvip Dham, you have now the qualification to take shelter of the pastime place of Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Vrindavan. Therefore, Shri Braja Dham is now your shelter. O son of Vallabha, the duty of a human being is to obtain qualification for Braja Rasa by first taking shelter of Shri Navadvip Dham. Having obtained Braja Rasa, one should reside in Shri Vrindavan Dham, because there the living beings attain the delight of Rasa. When any virtuous person obtains the mercy of Shri Navadvip Dham, it is very easy for him to attain Shri Vrindavan Dham. Hearing all of these deep and confidential philosophical truths from the mouth of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Shri Jiva Goswami, full of supreme happiness, caught his divine lotus feet and said, O Lord, O you who know the essence of all essential truths, I have one more question. Here, because Jiva Goswami was ordered by Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan because they had to do that seva there, but it is also possible, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur showed, Dhamero Swarup Spuribe Nayane Hoibo Radharadasi. In Navadvip, when one will attain that qualification by the grace of Navadvip, then he can also get Braja Bas in Navadvip. It is not necessary that everyone has to go. Like for Navadvip only for some time and then you must go to Vrindavan. That is not the case. It was in the case of Jiva Goswami because he was ordered by Mahaprabhu. and they had to revive all those holy places and everything. But if for some, they can stay in Navadvip all the time. But when they are qualified, they will also remain in Vrindavan, in their Radha Dasi Swarup, Hoivo Radha Radasi, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And at the same time also participating in Gaur Lila and Braja Lila, both, two Swarups. One Swarup expanded. In Jaiva Dharma you will find some devotees, they are having such Swarup Vyuha, like expansion. So how that is possible, that is only those who are realized souls, they can understand. But it is possible. Like Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was whole life he was in, means after Prabhupada, he was whole life in Navadvip. Never went to live in Vrindavan, but he is always in Vrindavan, seeing Govardhan, seeing everything there. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Radha Kund, seeing. But first one must gain qualification. So here, Jiva Goswami now further asks, although many people live here, in Sri Navadvip, why do not all of them engage in loving devotion to Sri Krishna? A great doubt has arisen in my mind. Although these people reside in a dham, how can offenses remain in them? How then can the servants of Vishnu, the Vaishnavas, remain without worries about committing offenses? O abode of the entire universe, O you who are eternally untainted, please reconcile this. The lowly and destitute Bhakti Vinod is singing of the glories of Sri Navadvip Dham with the hope of attaining the cooling shade of the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Jannava Devi. All glories to Sachinandan, Sri Gaura Hari. All glories to the son of Padmavati, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the life and soul of Sri Jannava Devi. All glories to Sri Advaita Acharya, the husband of Sita. All glories to Sri Gadadhar Pandit. All glories to Srivas and the other associates of Sri Gaura. After hearing Sri Jiva Goswami's question, Sri Nityananda Prabhu instructed the assembly of Vaishnavas in profound tattva, or fundamental spiritual truths. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur played the pastime. He was doing bhajan in Godrundip. But then he also went to Calcutta and disappeared in Calcutta, in preaching field. And then he was brought. Like Prabhupada also played this pastime. He disappeared in Calcutta. Our Parang Gurudev played this pastime, disappeared in Calcutta. Gurudev also disappeared in Calcutta. They're always in Vrindavan, because where deities of Radha Krishna, there is Vrindavan, and in their heart they're always in Swarup, they're always in Vrindavan. But they show this pastime that they are doing this seva of Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu ordered, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Prabhupada, Parang Gurudev ordered that this should be spread. So doing this seva, they left. They're always in Dham. Because Gauriya Mat is not of this world. Gauriya Mat is extension of Vrindavan or Navadvip. It is transcendental. And it is more shining. Like Narad once saw that Vrindavan in this world is much more brilliant than Golok Vrindavan. Because if you have one diamond, under sun, it will not shine so brilliantly as if it is in some dark place. Like that, when Vrindavan Dham or Navadvip Dham descends to this world, Narad saw it is more brilliant. It's very beautiful. I want to stay. Like that, if you bring this Vrindavan or Navadvip, if you bring to like Calcutta or Mumbai or Hyderabad or like Chandigarh, these places, they will shine more brightly. There Vrindavan, Navadvip, Mahaprabhu is there, Radha Krishna there, and they are appearing in such dark places, sinful places. So that is very merciful appearance, and it is shining more. So don't think, oh, Calcutta, or like Math there is something different. That is not Calcutta. Like someone sees Brindavan in India, he will think this is part of India, but it is not. Navadvip is part of Bengal. It is not. It is transcendental, descending there. Like that, Gauriya Math in Mumbai or Calcutta is not in Calcutta. You should not think like this. They are very brilliant, but one needs eyes to see that. Or in New Delhi, that Gauriya Math is not part of New Delhi. Oh Jiva, please listen. The unlimitedly blissful Shri Vrindavan and Shri Navadvip Dham are the resting places for the living entities. The pure souls who are beyond the influence of material nature eternally reside here as Shri Krishna's associates. This Dham is eternal, pure and transcendental. Material place and time have no influence here. The land, the time and everything else in this Dham are full of spiritual bliss, Chidanandamoy. The nature of this place is eternally transcendental. The houses, rivers, streams, forests and pastime places here are all spiritual and supremely captivating. This bliss-filled Dham is above mundane nature. The potency of Sri Krishna that operates here is inconceivable and supremely munificent. Knowing Sri Krishna's desire to deliver the living entities, this inconceivable potency manifests the Dham in this world. It is same for Gauriya Math, or it is same for ISKCON. When Sai Maharaj came on the order of Prabhupada and he installed deities, that is Dham. So that is also like in very dark place, New York and Chicago and San Francisco and this. There also Dham is appearing by the grace of pure devotee. London, Paris, Rome, this. But that is transcendental, where Supreme Lord appears by the devotion of pure devotee, that is Dham. And one who will take shelter and serve, then he can realize. Very merciful appearance. Material objects cannot exist in the Dham, nor can conditioned living beings enter it. Joro Maya, or the material energy, always keeps the Dham covered with her illusion. By the grace of Gurudev, we can get that understanding. Even in math, nothing is material, but we are not seeing that. Because everything used in the service of Krishna is transcendental. Even in house, if someone is doing bhajan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Grihete Goloka Bhai. The Goloka is there. Jadino grihe bhajana dekhe. Grihe te goloka bhai. Is golok. But one needs qualification to see that. How everything is blissful. Spiritual. Because here he says that conditioned living beings cannot enter Dham. That person, Joromaya, or the material energy, always keeps the Dham covered with her illusion. That person who has no relationship with Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is blind. That is ignorant of the real truth. He resides only on the covering of the Dham that Maya has cast. Although he thinks, I am residing in Sri Navadvip Dham, in reality, Prauda Maya bewilders him and keeps him far away from the Dham. If by some good fortune such a person gets the association of saintly persons, he attains his relationship with Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. O son of Ballabha, Sambandha Gyan is a most profound truth. A conditioned soul cannot easily understand the supreme wealth of Sambandha, relationship with the Lord. Although many people say, Sri Krishna Chaitanya is my only Lord, their hearts are devoid of even a smell of Sambandha Gyan. Like Gurudev told us, you say from the heart, I don't want anything, I want you only. You say from the heart, not from the mouth only. Then you will not get. So we may say, yes, I belong to Gurudev, I belong to Krishna, but inside we have no relationship and desiring so many other things. But by the grace of Guru Vaishnava, that may be awakened, then one will slowly start to perceive spiritual truths, Dham, Nam, everything. They are always carried away by delusion, those who have no Sambandha Gyan. Because such persons are situated within Maya's covering, they can never attain Shuddha Bhakti to the Supreme Lord Sri Hari. Nevertheless, due to false pride alone, they, the pseudo-religionists, impostors, hypocrites, and people devoid of humility, consider themselves superior to all others. Only by the mercy of sadhus can such a person give up his false pride, consider himself to be more insignificant than a blade of grass, and become more tolerant than a tree. He has absolutely no desire for his own honor and fame, and he becomes most expert in giving all honor to others. When one has these four qualities, one always chants the glories of Sri Krishna. Having attained this state, then only does one's eternal relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awaken. The jiva has and this here we have to understand, someone may be like purely hypocrite. So he has no touch with transcendental reality. But someone may be sincere soul, he has sukriti, he has faith, and he took shelter of Gurudev, and he's doing bhajan, but not yet fully cleared of all anarthas and all these things. But he's on the way, he's doing sadhana. So such person is different than that pure hypocrite. These persons, these devotees, sadhakas, they will go on with their sadhana, and gradually, the more they will remove the anarthas, the more spiritual reality they can realize. So in dham, in mat, in house, they can realize. The jiva has a relationship with Sri Krishna in one of the 5 kinds of rasa: Shanta, Dasya, Sakha, Vatsalya, Madhur. By worshipping Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the modes of Shanta and Dasya, Devotees attain a relationship with Sri Krishna in Vatsalya and other mellows. The eternally perfected relationship that the Jiva has with the Supreme Lord will awaken within the Jiva on the strength of his bhajan. Those wretched Jivas who see a difference between Sri Gaura Hari and Sri Krishna can never attain a relationship with Sri Krishna. The living entity, however, in whom good qualities such as humility have arisen as a result of the association of saintly personalities, worships Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu in Dasya Rasa. Dasya Rasa is the highest mood in which Sri Gauranga can be worshipped. Because of the predominance of this Dasya Rasa, the devotee of Sri Gauranga calls him Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu. A person who has the eligibility for Madhur Prema worships Sri Gaura Hari as Sri Radha Krishna. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is the combined form of Sri Radha and Sri Krishna. This united form is naturally not appreciated in their Jugala Bilas or amorous pastimes. Therefore, for this purpose, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu assumes two forms. When the Jiva's mood of servitorship reaches its fully matured stage by constant worship of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Madhur Ras itself will manifest in his heart. Madhur Ras to Radha Krishna. Not to Mahaprabhu Gauranga Nagari Bhav, not that. Serving Mahaprabhu in Dasya will take one to realize his Madhur Rasa with Radha Krishna. At that time, the object of worship, Sri Gaura Hari, appears in Braja as Sri Radha Krishna and drowns the devotee in the nectar of their eternal pastimes. The Jiva then attains Braja, the eternal pastime ground of Sri Radha Krishna. A person who is blind in regard to transcendental subject matters cannot see the profound relationship between Navadvip and Braja. In other words, he is not able to understand how Navadvip and Braja manifest in two forms, even though they are one. O Jiva, know for certain that the relationship between Sri Krishna and Sri Gaura is indeed of the same kind. Sri Gaura Hari appears as the youthful couple Sri Radha Krishna in Madhur Rasa. O son of Vallabha, within a very short time, Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatan will explain all these fundamental truths to you. Sriman Mahaprabhu has bestowed upon you the qualification to reside in Sri Dham Vrindavan. Therefore, O Jiva, do not delay your journey to Vraja a moment longer. Saying this, Sri Nityananda Prabhu placed his lotus feet on the head of Sri Jiva and empowered him. Being intoxicated in Mahaprema, Sri Jiva Goswami lay unconscious at Sri Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet for quite some time. When he regained consciousness, Sri Jiva began to roll in the dust of Srivasangan. Transformations of spiritual ecstasy beautified his body. Sri Jiva wept and began to speak. Because of my misfortune, I could not behold with these eyes the pastimes that Sriman Mahaprabhu performed in Nadia. Sri Gaura Hari performed pastimes only to deliver the jivas of this world. But my days are passing in vain because I cannot behold those pastimes. This is natural humbleness. But he got darshan. When they heard that Sri Jiva will go to Braja, many virtuous sadhu mahatmas arrived at Srivasangan. The elder Vaishnavas gave their blessings to Sri Jiva, and those who were junior to him begged for his merciful blessings. Sri Jiva folded his palms and prayed to all those Vaishnavas, kindly ignore all of my offenses. All of you are servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and gurus of the world. O wish-fulfilling trees, please show this insignificant Jiva such mercy that I may be attracted to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and that life after life Sri Nityananda Prabhu may be my Lord. Already in my childhood, I gave up my family and home. I know no one but you as my only friends. It is impossible to attain Shri Krishna without the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Therefore, O brothers, please all of you give me the dust of your feet. Saying this, Shri Jiva offered his obeisances at everyone's feet and offered them prayers. With the permission of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, he went to the house of Shri Jagannath Mishra and fell at the lotus feet of Mother Sachi, asking with an anxious heart for her permission to go to Braja. Shri Sachi Devi gave Shri Jiva the dust of her divine feet, bestowed upon him her blessings, and bade him farewell. Considering the Lord's order to be his everything, Shri Jiva crossed the Bhagirati, weeping and calling out, O Gaurango, O Gaurango. After proceeding on a little further, Shri Jiva Goswami crossed the border of the endlessly glorious Shri Navadvip. Shri Jiva offered his prostrated obeisances to Shri Navadvip Dham from that place and then set out toward Shri Vrindavan. At that time, Brajadham, Jamuna, and Shri Rupa Sanatan manifested in Shri Jiva's heart. Along the way, he received audience of Shri Gaura Hari in a dream, in which the Lord said, Go to Mathura. Rupa Sanatan and you are extremely dear to me. All of you work together to manifest scriptures on bhakti. May the service to my form as Shri Radha Krishna be your life and soul, and may you continuously behold the pastimes of Braja. Upon seeing the dream, Shri Jiva became supremely blissful and began to walk swiftly toward Brajadham. It is impossible to describe Shri Jiva Goswami's various activities after he arrived in Braja. Later on, a fortunate person will describe these activities, and all saintly personalities will blissfully hear of them. Our Gurudev wrote that book, biography of Jiva Goswami. They wrote in Bhakti Ratnakar and other, and Gurudev collected and made a collection. So one who is very fortunate, he is engaged in this, in the service of Vaishnava, singing the glories of Vaishnavas, and those who will hear, they are also fortunate. That is why we have to go through that book, and also especially on appearance and disappearance days. Although he is not a receptacle of the Supreme Lord's mercy, Bhaktivinoda, whose intelligence is wretched, has described Sri Dham Parikrama. My only prayer at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas is this: may they bestow upon me such mercy that my relationship with Sri Gaura Hari will be established. My only desire is that my relationship with Sri Gaura Hari be quickly established, and that following this I may reside in Navadvip. How will a person like me, who is devoid of the Vaishnava's mercy, having fallen like an insect into the pitfall of material desires, and who is depraved, devoid of bhakti, engrossed in lust, maddened by anger, and a slave of Maya, ever attain a relationship with Sri Gaura? If Sri Navadvip Dham is kind to me and appears in my heart, then only can I be delivered. I have faith that only the sincere mercy of Kula Devi, Praudamaya, will deliver me from this dangerous ignorance. May the protector of the Dham, breed the sheep, be merciful to me, so that the transcendental Dham becomes perceptible to me. O devotees of Sri Gaura, residing in Sri Navadvip, please place your lotus feet upon the head of this most vile person. All of you, please hear this prayer of mine, so that I may quickly attain the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although I am lowly and insignificant, I have described Sri Navadvip Dham only on the order of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Jannava Devi. This book is filled with the names of Sri Navadvip, Sri Gaura and Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Therefore, without doubt, it is completely pure and can never be blamed if there are any mistakes in its compilation. By reading this scripture, the devotees of Sri Gaura Hari will acquire the real fruit of Parikrama. It is the verdict of the scriptures that by deliberating on this book at the time of doing Parikrama, the benefit one receives increases 100-fold. The lowly, destitute and wretched Bhaktivinoda sings the glories of Sri Nadia in the hope of attaining the cooling shade of the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Jannava Devi. So we got the real fruit of Parikrama only by hearing this book. And if one does their Parikrama and hears this book, then he will get 100 times more. So tomorrow we will observe the appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Today we have to pray for his grace so that tomorrow he may mercifully appear in our heart and bestow his grace in removing all other desires and bestowing the loving service of his lotus feet as Mahaprabhu and as Radha Krishna.